we're getting hauled out. We're going to boat jail for a few days. We're going to give the bottom another coat of paint, fix the boot stripe, which has been driving us like crazy because it's like peeling off in sheets. And then we're going to do a few odds and end things like cleaning the bilge and replacing a few older through hulls. Here at my parents' condo, we're going to a boatyard just across the bay, so we have the use of their car. We can sleep in their house and not in the boat, and it's a reasonably priced yard, so it's probably a little sooner than we were planning to get hauled out, but it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, we're also not going to the Bahamas, so...
Yeah, so if you can't go to the Bahamas, might as well paint your boat. Now we're in the Punta Gorda Islands.
Isles.
So we got about 45 minutes of canal to go out. And inlet, we got about an hour of bay to run across, and then like 2 hours of canals, freshwater canal, a lock, and then like 2 hours of freshwater canals to get up to the actual marina. This place is a boat storage place for hurricane season, so it's like way up there. But it's a good DIY yard to keep fresh water in the canals. And just before the lock, it's a little shallow, but it looks fine. We should be able to do it even at low tide with our draft.
We think.
We should.
This is our first ever self-service lock, like where we have to operate all the things. Locking is not our favorite thing in the world, so hopefully this goes all right.
The area just before the lock was pretty shallow, but the lock itself was pretty simple as long as you read the instructions first. It's always a little nerve-wracking to have Ecola hauled. Her full keel can make it a little challenging, but the guys at Charlotte Harbor Boat Storage took really good care of her. A quick power wash, and we were on our way to our spot.
So we're in the yard now. We are out of the water. We're going to get started on our projects. First one for today is we're removing the old speed sensor and the two head seat cocks. Speed and water temperature sensor died, so we're going to replace it with the new one. And this one has a speed and depth and temperature all built in one, and it was like $20 more than just the speed sensor, so we decided to go with this one, which gives us a second backup depth sounder, which we thought would be worth it. Speed sensor lives down in this locker. Typically you replace these in the water, but since we're hauling out for the THRU-HULL fittings and the head and the bottom paint and the boot stripe, we figured might as well change it now and not get like 5 gallons of water in the boat.
Yep. There's piss poorly. Ew!
Gunky. Vacuum plate just popped off, which it's like halfway surprising, but not too bad.
But it's wet behind it.
Yeah, probably like that's not a huge deal. We'll clean it out then. put a new one on.
So what will you have to do to put it back on?
We'll just make a new one out of plywood. Or Dad has a bunch of STARBOARD laying around, so we can make it out of the plastic.
And
you
then
just stick it on there.
you have to like epoxy it on, or
No, you can just glue it on with 5200.
Okay.
So this just makes it thicker and spreads the load out from the seacock a little bit farther on the hull.
Okay.
The through-hull fitting for the larger seacock in the head is stuck. I can't get the nut off without the wrench slipping and me busting my knuckles. So what I'm going to do is just make a small cut into the nut, the retaining nut, which will release the tension, and I should be able just to easily thread it off.
This banging went on for quite some time before Andy realized that it was stuck because one of the stands was on top of the through hull on the outside.
Brute force and ignorance.
We'll be making the new backing plates for the seacocks out of STARBOARD rather than plywood. Through hulls bolted in. Now I gotta thread in the mushroom fittings. These guys. A bit of a sealant around here, and then thread them in to the through hull. I'm fine.
No, this is one of the worst boat jobs. It's like one of the worst.
You know some boats have dry bilges, right?
People who have dry bilges. This bilge is so disgusting, and it stinks so bad. Ugh. And it's so hot down here. I'm literally like dripping in sweat. Like I'm making a puddle underneath myself.
Today is day 3 in the yard, and we are going to start working on some painting projects. So I am going to start taping the boot stripe. Andy sands the toe rail for varnish, and then we're going to swap. I'll stain the toe rail while he sands the boot stripe. And then we'll both probably end up varnishing. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of like getting each other's way today, but hopefully it won't be too bad.
A vacuum purse, because that's what that looks like. It's a vacuum purse. I figured I'd share a little secret about taping, because sometimes it can get really, especially like on a curved surface, it can get really challenging. So one thing that you definitely want to do, go here. I make myself look like an idiot. So I typically hold tension here, and then I put this finger down and then follow it with this one. And you don't want to necessarily go like this way as much as you want to go down, so you don't end up with like creases. You want to make sure you go back through and make sure that edge is really nailed down. But tension, put it down, and then there. And you only want to go as far as you have like a nice little...
Then you worry about flipping this up later.
Then yeah, worry about flipping it up later. So tension, put that side down, and then come in behind it. And if you work like that, it's actually, first of all, you can move really quickly, and second, you don't have to like cut your tape nearly as often, which will give you nicer clean lines, because the less you have to have.
Because every cut is a spot for paint to get up in there.
Yeah, and that's definitely where you'll see all your paint stuff. So this is the only thing I'm really good at when it comes to painting, is taping.
We didn't actually need to do anything with the bottom paint since it was only 10 months old and in really good shape. But since we were out of the water, we decided to put a little more on in hopes that it will save us from having to haul out again anytime soon.
Over here is where we haven't yet buffed, and you can see it's a little cloudy, and there's a little bit, and then look, what? It's like a mirror. And then right here, and then right here is where the Andy's just putting the wax on, and I'll come behind.
Going back in the water today, and it is very exciting, and Ecola is looking so good. It's great. Most of the projects that we've done while we've been here have been cosmetic, but it was stuff that was driving us crazy, and one of the few real perks of having an older 1965 sailboat is just how nice it looks. So to have chipping paint and our varnish to be looking just ragged was really just kind of making me depressed. So it feels really good to have spent some of this time that we're just kind of feeling like we're just cooling our heels here in Florida until we can turn around and head north in a couple weeks. I think it was a good use of time and money, so everything's looking really good. And now we have THRU-HULLs that we're not worried about, and we've got a depth sensor, secondary depth sensor, and our water speed sensor should actually work now, which should be great. She's looking real pretty.
Next time, we head eastward through the Okeechobee Waterway. Thanks for watching!